3 bone-chilling true blackout horror stories that haunt you at 3 am. Clock struck 3, and the world held its breath. Darkness swallowed the room whole, thick and suffocating. You tossed and turned, but sleep wouldn't come. Outside, the wind shrieked like a banshee, rattling the windows. You felt that chilling tingle crawl up your spine, urging you to listen, really listen. It started with an eerie whimper from the darkness, a sound so small yet so piercing that it made your heart race. Shadows danced on the walls, and in the corner of your eye, something flickered. Was it just your imagination? Or was something lurking just beyond the edge of the moonlight? From the depths of this silence, came a hushed voice, "Help me." It was a whisper, but it cut through the stillness like a knife. This wasn't a dream, this was real. You could feel the hairs on your neck stand straight. Something was terribly wrong. In a world where bizarre tales of blackouts began to circulate, there were 3 stories that cut through the darkness like a flash of lightning. They said, in the small town of Millfield, a couple vanished during a blackout, leaving only a strange symbol burned into their living room floor. The locals were haunted by what that symbol meant. It flickered in their minds, a specter of fear. Then there was the tale of a young girl trapped in a blackout, who claimed she saw the face of a wretched monster, its eyes glowing like embers, watching her every move. And in the 3rd story, a man who had lost his wife during a blackout swore he heard her voice calling to him from the void, urging him to join her on the other side. With each account, reality twisted and turned, becoming something unrecognizable. The chill was palpable, and you felt it creeping into your bones. The air grew heavy, thick with anticipation. What would happen when the lights flickered on? Would you be left facing the truth or a deeper horror? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The ominous shadows slithered around, making the silence scream even louder. Like a slow-motion train wreck, your mind raced back to these stories. You couldn't shake the feeling that you were not alone in this room. Suddenly, the lights flickered, once, twice, and then darkness swallowed the space whole again. In that moment of silence that followed, you heard it, a low growl, echoing through the air like a death knell. The sound coiled around you, tightening its grip like the very air had turned into a vice. What could be waiting for you when the lights returned? Would you dare to find out? Then came the moment that would change everything. The lights flickered again, this time with a fierce intensity that illuminated your surroundings for just a heartbeat. In that flash, you caught a glimpse of a figure standing at the farthest edge of the room. Your heart stopped. An unnatural stillness hung in the air, heavy enough to crush a whisper. The figure was tall and gaunt, its features obscured by the oppressive shadows that danced around it. Panic surged through you, an icy wave that rendered you immobile. Just as quickly as the light struck, darkness descended again, plunging you into anxiety-ridden silence. Your breath quickened, and the trembling rush in your legs begged you to run. But where? Every corner felt alive, an echoing reminder of the tales you'd heard. How many others had faced their fears in a blackened room, only to never find the light again? A soft whimper shattered the silence, reminiscent of that first chilling whisper. Help me, but this time, it felt closer. The voice didn't sound like it was calling from beyond the veil, it was right here, within reach. It was a plea laced with desperation, a haunting echo that made the walls feel like they were closing in. Who are you? You managed to murmur, your voice barely a thread in the suffocating air. Silence, then more growling, deeper this time, like a beast prowling just outside your sight. Your muscles tensed, every instinct urging you to bolt. Shadows twisted and writhed, revealing little but sparking your imagination into chaos. With every heartbeat, the growl intensified, almost demanding your fear. It was a sound that vibrated through your very bones, a primal warning. Surely whatever haunted this place could sense your fear, feeding off it, growing stronger. It was then that you remembered the stories. What if you were the next to vanish? What if your name joined that whispered lore, forever unresolved? Desperate to escape, you grabbed your phone from the nightstand. The glow felt warm against your skin, a lifeline in the choking darkness. But as you swiped to turn on the light, the device flickered and froze, the screen giving way to ominous darkness. Like everything else, panic surged. You were trapped. As the oppressive stillness pressed against you, the growl morphed into something vile, a series of deep, raspy breaths that echoed like thunderclaps in the confined space. The edges of the shadows twisted, mocking you, as if they were alive and hungry. Suddenly, a loud crash rang out from the kitchen, shattering whatever fragile piece lingered in the air. Your heart raced as sounds of shuffling filled the void. A horrible thought seeped into your mind. What was waiting for you there? Could it have been the same monster that had haunted the girl in Millfield? Or a new horror entirely, ready to feed on the chaos of the night? Mustering every ounce of courage, you decided this time, there would be no hesitation. You would confront whatever lay lurking in the dark. In that moment, just as your foot stepped over the threshold of the living room, the eerie voice returned, this time frantic, "Don't go. It's not safe." But was it too late to turn back? Would you dare to uncover the truth, or would the darkness claim you as its next victim? With a final breath, you quieted your racing heart and pushed forward into the unknown. Your foot landed softly on the kitchen tile, but the sound felt like thunder in the stillness. Every instinct screamed at you to retreat, but the shadows behind you felt more menacing than the uncertainty ahead. You swallowed hard, trying to steel yourself against the overwhelming dread clawing at your throat. The growing noise from the kitchen was almost rhythmic, now a low thud, then silence, followed by a scraping sound that sent raw shivers down your spine. You stepped into the kitchen, the void swallowing you whole. With each uncertain movement, the air thickened, making it hard to breathe. As you squinted into the murky gloom, your eyes slowly adjusted. The outline of the table loomed, still and eerie, split by a slant of moonlight that crept through the window. And then, a shadow, a fleeting figure darted past, quick and sinuous. The sound of broken glass splintering beneath the weight of something unyielding sent jolts of fear through your system. "What are you?" You called out, your voice quaking as another cacophony of movement erupted from the corner. "Help!" The voice came again, more insistent, lingering like a lost echo. You turned, trying to locate its source. Was it in your head, or was it real? A small breeze stirred the hair on the back of your neck, and you shivered, realizing the air had gone cold, nearly frigid. You steeled yourself against the overwhelming fear, feeling like a puppet on strings. "Show yourself!" You demanded, your voice louder now, fueled by desperation. But the weight of dread pressed back, reminding you of the stories you'd scorned so often. Were you tempting fate? Moments dragged into eternity, with only the faintest sound of rustling nearby. And then silence. Plunged into a void so deep that it felt alive, you felt a strange compulsion, as if the darkness were summoning you forward. But what lay in front of you? A faint glimmer caught your eye. Amid the rubble on the floor, something shone softly. You moved closer, breathing shallowly. And there it lay, an old locket, identical to one worn in the tales of those tragically lost. Your fingers trembled as you reached out, a familiar stir of recognition gripping at your heart. Don't touch that." The voice came again, more desperate, echoing all around you. "You have to leave, now." But you were rooted in place. The pull of the locket was magnetic. As you clasped it in your palm, a pained surge shot through you, filled with sorrow and dread, as if a doorway had creaked open, tied to a lost soul trapped between realms. The shadows flickered, hinting at presence, something powerful, yet tormented. The temperature dropped further, freezing your breath in the air. It became harder to stand, the very essence of fear wrapped around you like chains. Just when you thought you might break free, the growling returned, this time mixed with a low wail that pierced through the silence, rattling your bones. "Leave while you can." The voice begged again, almost a shriek. The locket in your hand burned against your skin, a white-hot reminder that you were not alone. Then came an impact, a furious crash as the shadows erupted into frenzied movement all at once, twisting and lunging forward. You spun toward the door. The urge to run raged inside you like fierce wildfire. But a part of you hesitated, gripped by the weight of unresolved fates. What truths were tied to this cursed place? The dark was closing in, and with it, the realization that the monster slumbered not in the shadows, but perhaps in the heart of this forgotten memory, yours for the taking, or your biggest nightmare realized. You had to choose, flee, or confront whatever awaited you. But the moment you reached for the door, it slammed shut with a resounding crash, sealing your fate. What had you awakened? The shadows twisted and writhed around you, like serpents eager to strike. Heart pounding hard against your ribcage, you could feel the cold sweat racing down your spine. Panic surged, yet the locket seemed to pulse anxiously in your hand, every heartbeat resonating with whispers from a long-lost soul. "Help!" the voice cracked again, louder this time, bright with desperation. It was as though the very walls of the kitchen were alive, resonating with sorrow. You dared to glance at the room around you. The darkness was thick, but the presence of someone was unmistakable. Your instincts screamed to run, but a part of you felt tethered, anchored to unfolding events like a moth drawn into a flame. There was movement out of the corner of your eye. A form hunched and shadowy, barely human, seemed to materialize in the gloom. Your pulse surged, an electric jolt of terror electrifying your body as it took a step forward, half illuminated by the silver beam of moonlight. The figure's features were obscured, but you could sense the weight of its anguish. Why did you come here?" It rasped, a gurgling echo that sent chills crawling over your skin. You stammered, I found this." You extended the locket, your fingers trembling uncontrollably. The air thickened, almost suffocating, as it hovered, eyes locked on the trinket. "Leave it! Leave it!" The voice from the shadows screamed, shattering into shards of despair. It felt personal, like you had pulled at threads too delicate to unravel. "Do not open it." But curiosity clawed at you, tugging relentlessly. What secrets lay buried within? You fumbled to flip it open, heart racing. The locket creaked, revealing a faded picture of a woman. Your eyes widened. She bore a striking resemblance to you. Before you could comprehend the image, the temperature plummeted, a bone-deep chill that coiled around your heart. "Don't you see?" The figure rasped, stepping closer until it took form, a gaunt face with hollowed cheeks and pleading eyes. "She cannot rest. You've awakened her. You need to leave now." Fear coursed through your veins, primal and raw. You were on the edge of collapsing with uncertainty. The room began to pulse with shadows, swirling in a tumultuous dance. The air vibrated with tension, while whispers escalated into an anguished wail. This was just a specter, but something darker, an amalgamation of pain dragged from a past that should remained buried. You attempted to dart for the door, but the locket's grip on you tightened, pulling you back into the fray. From within the shadows, new shapes emerged, an array of semi-translucent figures cloaked in darkness, reaching for you with outstretched hands, their mouths moving silently, begging for release. "I need to find out," you shouted, driven by an unyielding desire to connect with the truth. But fear wrapped around you like a vice. A hurricane of emotions surged and clashed, leaving you paralyzed in the eye of a storm. The gaunt figure lunged forward, hand outstretched in warning. "It will consume you. You have no idea what you're dealing with." Your breath quickened, and in a moment of wild clarity, you allowed the locket to drop. It clattered against the floor, cascading sparks of light that ignited the room. But before it touched the ground, the shadows surged forth, swallowing the locket in a ferocious bloom of darkness. Suddenly, everything went quiet. The figures faded back, as if recoiling from a threat. An impenetrable darkness fixed its gaze upon you, and in that abyss, an answer long hidden seemed to rise like an ocean tide. Then it happened, an explosion of memories surged through your mind, flashing images fleeing from something, a hand reaching back in desperation. Who were you really? The silhouettes began to reshuffle, intertwining truths that ignited a question you never anticipated: was I meant to be here? Struggling against the confusion washing over you, you braced yourself. The feelings of urgency wrapped around your throat as reality and horror converged. What had you unleashed? And what did it want from you? As the shadows lurked deeper, a familiar voice softly whispered your name, piercing through the dark, and your heart raced with terrifying anticipation. What awaited you in that darkness? The darkness shifted, thick and heavy, wrapping around you like a shroud. Each fleeting thought whirled in desperation, grappling for clarity as the faint whisper of your name echoed again, more insistent this time. It merged with the low, keening wails of the trapped spirits filling the room, their pain resonating like a requiem in your ears. You blinked, trying to focus on the gaunt figure who had warned you. Its wide eyes mirrored your own terror, flooded with an urgency that clawed at your heart. You opened something you can't begin to comprehend, it rasped, breathlessly, each word dripping with dread. What should I do? You barely managed to ask, the tremor in your voice betraying the resolve you wished you could summon. Run! It screeched, a piercing sound that shattered the silence, and you felt the urge to flee flood your senses. Yet, instead of retreating, an inexplicable pull urged you to stay. You wanted to understand this locket, this place, this agonizing urge that you could not deny. The shadows morphed, twisting into grotesque shapes as memories flashed in rapid succession, a turbulent past intertwined with your own. Images of a home, laughter, sorrow, and faces reshaping into strangers, yet somehow familiar. It all rushed in, knocking the breath from your lungs as realization dawned like a cruel mockery: this is my family. No! The figure shouted, its voice a warning wrapped in anguish. That fate is not yours. Don't you see? You cannot alter what has been decided. Tears stung your eyes. You stumbled back, grasping the countertop for support, as the air thickened, squeezing the breath from your lungs. But I have to know. You cried, pleading more with yourself than the figure now looming before you. Suddenly, the voices intensified. A chorus of despair and longing resonated from the shadows, the very walls stretching as though they too were screaming. He will come for you. Someone wailed, a voice hollow and filled with twisted anticipation. And when he does, everything you care about will shatter. A cold shiver raced down your spine. Who? You gasped, but before an answer could come, the shadows whipped like a tempest, enveloping you, pulling you down into an inky abyss. And then, silence. You floated in a disorienting void, alone. It was both tranquil and claustrophobic, a lull before the storm, as every ounce of fear roared to life within you. Shadows painted with fragments of your past drifted by, and you felt your own sanity eroding. Then, amidst the silence, a faint glow flickered to life in the distance. Drawn to it, you found yourself moving forward, a powerful instinct guiding you. As you drew closer, the light intensified into a searing brilliance, illuminating the darkness. There, in the heart of the glow, was the locket once more, glimmering, a harbinger of truth. You reached for it, fingers trembling as your thoughts collided. Was this the chance to reclaim the past? Or to further weave your fate into the web of shadows? The chilling wail of the shadowed figures returned, echoing your name, a warning, a cry, a haunting melody entwined with your own voice. In that moment, you faced the decision. Would you grasp the locket and reignite the curse that loomed, or would you dare to escape this tangled destiny? The allure of the unknown loomed strong, but a suffocating dread promised that truth may come at a cost. With the light pulsating like a heartbeat, you made your choice. But as your hand reached for the locket, a rumbling voice echoed in the chamber, chilling your very soul. The time has come and the darkness craves what belongs to it. What would you unleash when the shadows claimed their prize? You gasped as your fingers brushed against the locket. Its metal felt cold, almost alive against your skin, sending a jolt of energy through you. In that split second, everything shifted. The glow enveloped you, pulling you in deeper, and suddenly, you were back in the room, the shadows swirling, echoing your every breath. Reflect on what you've done. The gaunt figure cried, its voice cutting through the thick air like a knife. Your heart raced. What had you done? Every moment from before rushed in, overwhelming. You dropped the locket, clenching your fists by your sides, your breath coming in shaky gasps. If there was a chance to end this torment, you had to figure it out. But the darkness thickened around you, drawing closer, tendrils stretching like skeletal fingers. You must be careful, whispered a voice that sounded like silk, smooth but with an underlying threat. This place is hungry for what you carry. What do you want? You shouted, desperation tightening around your throat. Only what was taken from us. The shadows twisted and turned, and suddenly, ghostly faces emerged, eyes submerged in sorrow. They hovered, waiting for an answer, waiting for you to choose. No. You cried, shaking your head violently. I won't give you anything. Foolish child, one spirit hissed, its breath a chilling breeze. You think you hold the power. How laughable. You will need to decide, surrender your will or face the consequences. With every heartbeat, the tension tightened. An invisible force clenched your chest, and dread rolled in like a wave, forcing you to your knees. You looked back to the locket, sparkling under the shifting shadows, almost beckoning you to return. How could something so beautiful be linked to such darkness? Memories flooded back, laughter from a childhood long forgotten, moments of joy you would pay anything to reclaim. The faces of your family, smiling and whole, surged forth. You're all trapped? You whimpered, tears threatening to fall as your own feelings intertwined with their pain. Yes. The spirits wailed in unison, their voices mingling into a haunting harmony. We were lost because of you. You must choose, set us free, or we will take what's yours. Stop. You had to think. If you set them free, would that mean losing everything? Or would it give you the answers you so desperately sought? You clenched your jaw, determination blooming even under the weight of despair. No more running. A fierce yet familiar voice rang out from the shadows, and you felt a rush of bravery. You faced this darkness together. It was then that clarity enveloped you. You understood it wasn't just your family who suffered. It was a lineage, a legacy intertwined with regret and lost hope. Maybe we have to confront what we fear, you breathed, steeling yourself. Not just for you, but for all of us. What if we embraced the truth? What if we fought back? The shadows recoiled, and the light flickered around you. It was as if the spirits hesitated, drawn by the sincerity of your resolve. You think strength lies in defiance? One whispered, the tone more curious than menacing now, but before you could reply, an earthquake of rage resounded through the room, the shadows tightening their grip. It is too late. They screamed, furious. You have awoken us. A chill shot down your spine as the ground shook violently, and you stumbled backward. The figures twisted into a storm, their shrieks blending into a cacophony of voices urging you to run. In that moment, standing against the storm, you had a choice. Would you fight the shadows, or would you let the darkness reclaim you? With a glance back at the locket, you clenched your fists, knowing that whatever happened next would change everything. The shadows might have unleashed a tempest, but maybe, they had awakened something in you too, and then, just as quickly, the room went silent, leaving a lingering fear in the air. What had you truly awakened with your defiance? The price of your newfound courage hung in the balance, waiting to be revealed as darkness encircled you once more. The air was thick, suffocating even. You dared to breathe in, fighting against the paralyzing fear that gripped your chest. The silence felt alive, crawling over your skin like a swarm of insects. The moment before had been chaos, and now it was as if time itself had stopped, but you weren't alone. Voices swirled softly and then crashed back to you, whispering your name, calling for you. Help us, they pleaded, rising and falling like waves gently lapping at the shore. Faceless, shadowy figures hovered, their forms intertwining, beckoning you with desperate gestures. "What do you want?" You finally gasped, your voice trembling and raw. "Truth," they moaned deep from within their chests, a haunting echo that resonated in the core of you. "Truth that binds us and chains you." The shadows shifted closer, an enveloping mist. You felt the cold tendrils caress your skin, pulling you in, tempting you to give in to their control. The locket's promise gleamed in the dark where it lay, its beauty a sharp contrast to the overwhelming dread swirling around you. Could freedom lie within its depths, or would it cost more than you were prepared to pay? "Look around," a spirit urged in a voice like broken glass. "What have you lost? What will you do to reclaim it?" Every heartbeat reverberated in your ears. You thought of your family, the joy you felt every time you heard their laughter, the warmth of shared moments that already felt like shadows of a distant past. You could almost touch those memories, but now they hovered just beyond reach, taunting you. Every choice, the spirits murmured, their faces twisted in agony. Every choice leaves a mark, a shadow. You know this well. The weight of their words settled heavily on your shoulders. Regret, woven tightly with guilt, flooded through you. It coiled around your courage, squeezing tightly. "I didn't," you stammered, then stopped. What could you say? What could you even claim as a defense against this consuming darkness? Then, from the depths of your despair, a spark ignited. "But I can't let you take everything," you shouted, standing taller. "I refuse to let you win." The room trembled once more in response to your defiance. The whispers escalated to screams as the shadows recoiled. "Victory is an illusion," they shrieked. "You cannot fight what is already part of you." With those words, the air thickened again, growing dense. Shadows shifted like a beast coiling around prey. The ground beneath your feet rippled, and you lost your balance, teetering back before crashing onto the cold, hard floor. Breathless, you searched for the locket amidst the chaos, desperate to find that last thread of connection, the one promise that could bridge the divide. If you could grasp it, perhaps you could control this storm, but the locket was gone. Panic shot through you. Dark tendrils lashed at your ankles, dragging you down into the depths, swirling like a tempest around your shaking body. "You awaken us, but we do not tire," the spirits roared, merging into one cacophonic cry. Desperation clawed at your throat. "What do I have to do? Just tell me," you screamed over the chaos. Just then, the darkness paused for a heartbeat, tilting momentarily on a precipice between fury and curiosity. "Face your fears," a voice rasped delicately, echoing like a breath of fresh air through the heavy fog. "Only then will your heart know what to do." The last words rang in your ears, lingering as the shadows pressed forward again, more ferocious than before. It felt as if they had flooded the very air around you, constricting your chest. How could you face what you feared most when it twisted so deeply into your very essence? Perhaps they were right, perhaps the shadow was not an enemy but a part of you, a truth you refused to embrace. Throbbing heat pulsed within you, and as you gripped the floor, pain mixed with purpose. You held on to your last shred of determination. You would confront your past. You would break this cycle, but could you transform pain into power? As the darkness consumed you again, something shifted deep within. And in the blackness, a light flickered, just faint enough to spark your hope. Was it your salvation? Or was it merely another trick of the shadows? With your heart racing furiously, you braced yourself. Courage or surrender, which path would you take? The choice loomed, and with it, the true nature of your awakening awaited just beyond the brink. The darkness swallowed you whole, an all-consuming void that clawed at your sanity. Your heart thundered as you wrestled with the decision that lay before you. Courage or surrender, which path would you take? The light flickered closer, drawing you in like a moth to a flame. Straining your senses, you closed your eyes, allowing the shadows to press against you. You felt everything churn inside, an intense battle of fear, regret, and a powerful need to fight back. Face your fears, the gentle whisper urged again, resonating deep within like an echo in a canyon. You thought of your childhood. The basement in your old house flooded your mind. That childhood sanctuary, transformed into a haunted prison, a place where you faced the monsters of your imagination and the terrifying truths of adulthood. With a desperate push, you opened your eyes, determined to confront the source of your dread. Yet before you could gather your will, the shadows shifted again, morphing. Broken faces twisted in silent screams surrounded you, their pleading eyes boring into your soul. Why are you here? You cried, pouring every ounce of anger and fear into your voice. What do you want from me? They leaned in closer, a pendulum anxiously swinging from dread to curiosity. You know you have a choice. Not just to look back, but to leap forward, one whisper breathed, sounding strangely familiar. Leap forward? Yes, the chorus responded, their voices weaving together in a haunting harmony. Face what once was, embrace what is and reveal what can be. A flood of memories rushed in. Your failures, your losses, your untold truths. The day you stayed silent when you should have spoken up, when you let love slip from your fingers, when you watched a loved one fade away choosing to ignore the pain, burying it deep inside while pretending that everything was okay. As the weight of those choices crashed down, your vision blurred. In that moment of despair, you found the pulse of that flickering light. Growing brighter, it illuminated the depths of your past, a warmth breaking through the icy claw of the darkness gripping you. Look! One of the spirits shouted, and suddenly the shadows split like smoke. You were transported to a room rippling with echoes of laughter, your family's faces alive before you, clear and real. The warmth of those moments enveloped you, a stark contrast to the impending shadows. Tears filled your eyes as you fought to tell them how much you loved them. But the shadows crashed back, their grip returning. No! You can't hide in nostalgia. They screeched, charging forward, filled with rage. Then I will break the cycle. You roared back, feeling a surge of power. With newfound strength, you reached deep within yourself, past the pain and regret, into the very heart of your essence. Could it be true? Could pain transform into power? In that electrifying moment, light shot from your core, illuminating everything around you. The shadows howled in agony as they were struck by this dazzling energy. You felt their hold lessen, their grip becoming weaker. You advanced, moving toward the source of the chaos, toward your truth. As you neared the epicenter, a towering figure materialized from the shadows, an embodiment of your darkest fears. The figure bore your face, twisted and contorted in a haunting reflection. Stop! It hissed. You cannot escape me, I am you. Then let us face the truth together. You shouted, stepping closer. The air shifted as you moved, the shimmering light radiating from your heart clashing with the shadows surrounding the figure. There's a power in defining your truth. You declared. You won't control me anymore. The world around you trembled. The darkness roared, but your light burned brighter. With a scream, you lunged forward, ready to reconcile the fear and pain that had haunted you for so long. The moment of confrontation had arrived. Would you merge with your fear and embrace your reality, or be consumed again by the shadows? As you touched the figure, the reality shifted again, spinning, tumbling. What would happen next? You could only wait and see. The world around you shattered upon contact, the very fabric of reality stretching, swirling violently as colors melted into one another. Time lost its meaning, what felt like hours zipped by in seconds. You were losing your sense of self, every heartbeat echoing in your ears, drowning out everything else. In that moment, you realized how fragile existence was. The sharp edges of fear clawed at you, testing your resolve. Suddenly, you found yourself standing on the precipice of an infinite chasm, darkness swirling beneath you like a stormy ocean. The familiar face, your eerie doppelganger, loomed large, its features more pronounced now. Grinning with malevolent familiarity, it sneered, "You think you're so brave? What will you do when the light fades?" "Fight," you whispered, but it felt more like a plea than a declaration. Behind you, the shadows surged, forming claw-like hands that reached for you, desperate to pull you back into their embrace. They were strong, whispering your darkest secrets every moment of shame, doubt, and guilt. You couldn't let them win, you couldn't be swept back into the darkness. Fight. You repeated, louder this time, empowered by the clarity of your thoughts. You squared your shoulders, resuming the stance of a warrior. Your heart surged with a resolve much greater than fear, ignited by the flashes of those tender memories, the hands of your loved ones, the laughter that once filled your home, the dreams that still flickered in the corners of your mind. Merge with me. The figure roared, its voice echoing violently around you. Together we're unstoppable. Just surrender. But surrender meant death. It meant losing everything, becoming an echo lost in the vast emptiness. As the shadows closed in, you closed your eyes, remembering the warmth of laughter. You didn't just want to remember, you wanted to fight. Drawing deep from that reservoir of love, you summoned every ounce of brightness within you. A brilliant light erupted from your heart, spreading outwards and enveloping the figure before you. The shadows recoiled, screaming, vibrating with a fury that shook the ground beneath your feet. Leave me. You screamed into the void, pouring your feeling of defiance into the air. I am not your prison anymore. The palpable energy surged outwards like a tidal wave, colliding with your darkest self. The doppelganger writhed and shouted, its laughter twisting into anguish. Light filled the space, and for a brief moment, everything felt tranquil, suspended in the balance between two opposing forces, but just as you began to believe that perhaps you could win, the earth trembled violently. The light flickered, and the shadows retaliated, spewing forth a whirlwind of darkness that enveloped you. Choking on despair, you gasped. The monsters in the corners of your mind were rising again, brandishing memories like weapons. Remember me? The echo taunted, a shadow stretching out to touch your trembling hands. A moment of weakness surged through you, the fear clawing back. Fight. A voice, strong and familiar, whispered through the chaos. Your family's faces flashed before your eyes. The choice was yours to embrace their strength, and in that moment of chaos, you remembered the truth. Fear wasn't your enemy, it was a part of you, a twisted fragment of an untold story. To defeat it, you needed to embrace it. To be whole, you had to weave the past into the fabric of your courage. With a roar of determination, you forced yourself forward, ready to merge the light within with the shadows that danced. But as you did, the piercing echoes of rage and despair tightened their grip. Would you manage to bind them together into a powerful synergy, or would you be used as mere fuel for their chaotic existence? As the two forces clashed, everything began to blur again, the horizon spinning wildly out of control, and all you could hold on to was the raw energy of the truth within. What awaited you in the impending chaos remained a mystery. Would you find balance, or would you drown? As the shadows roared and writhing energy ignited around you, you found yourself at the eye of a storm, a battleground of light and dark. Your heart hammered, but a strange calmness washed over you. You remembered the laughter, the warmth, and the unconditional love woven into the very fabric of your soul. They were your strength, not your weakness. Embrace it. That reassuring voice bubbled from deep within. And in that moment, you surged forward, a warrior armed not just with courage, but with your unbreakable connection to your family and their love. You weren't only fighting shadows, you were reuniting with your essence. The dark figure writhed as your light pulsated outward, a beacon that illuminated the very depths of despair that once consumed you. It shrieked, clawing at the light, trying to pull you back. You cannot tame the darkness. It is your reality. It snarled, but you held your ground, focused on that positive glimmer of truth. I am not afraid. You cried, your voice mixing seamlessly with the energy surrounding you. I am more than my fears. The chilling winds were relentless, but you pierced through with newfound determination. You summoned every ounce of love, merging the light and dark, a swirling tempest of memories, joy fused with anguish, creating a vibrant halo of emotion. It transformed pain into power. The shadows recoiled, retreating in confusion, exposed and vulnerable for the first time. Every fear requires facing. You shouted, and it echoed through the vast expanse. The swirling mass of darkness began to fracture, pieces cascading away into stars that scattered among the void. You pressed forward, wrapping the tendrils of your shadow self with warmth and acceptance, turning the chaos into a soft glow. They feed on your fear, but you are stronger than they realize. The voices joined in, flooding your veins with reassurance as light surged through, mingling with the dark until it transformed altogether. In that sacred harmony, life began to unfold. You felt the fractured pieces of your existence coalesce into something whole. With renewed strength, you called out to the trapped souls, bringing them into the embrace of your light, offering freedom from their torment. You are not alone. We heal together. It was a glorious moment of clarity. The shrieks of the dark figure drowned beneath the waves of acceptance. You were ready to forgive your past, embracing every sorrow and joy. This is my truth, and I will not be shackled by it, you declared. With a final burst of energy, you pushed every fragment of fear and shadow away, stretching as far as it could go, until the whole room was filled with brilliance. The light amplified, creating a prism of colors that exploded into a celestial array, washing away the dark with radiant sparkles that danced through the air like stars. As the last vestiges of shadows dissipated, clarity seeped into your mind. Everything shifted. The walls of the kitchen morphed back into a warm reality instead of a haunting abyss. You stood alone, the familiar hum of your surroundings settling around you as a cozy blanket. The locket lay among the remnant shards of darkness, glimmering gently but no longer an object of dread. You knelt down, grasping it in your palm, now feeling its warmth, a reminder of who you are, not just who you were. In that moment of deep understanding, you no longer feared the silence, for it enveloped you in peace rather than dread. The whispers of anguish faded into soft echoes, now filled with gratitude. Once a mere specter of regret, they were now stories glorified. The darkness that had threatened to consume you had instead unveiled profound lessons, strength, and a new beginning. As dawn approached, illumination danced across the kitchen, reflecting the emergence of a fresh start. With every heartbeat, you felt lighter, like a weight you didn't even know you were carrying had lifted. The cycle was broken. You weren't just a survivor of fear, you were the embodiment of resilience, ready to embrace your journey. You stepped out into the light, bright and aware. There was hope on the horizon, and you'd cherish every moment of it. Remember, every time darkness dances around you, it's simply setting the stage for the brilliance of your own light. Your story isn't to combat fear but to walk alongside it, embracing what intertwines you with the world. Now, as this chapter of bravery concludes, we turn to you, dear friend. Your adventure doesn't end here. Hit that subscribe button immediately so you don't miss the next ride through haunting tales and heart-pounding truths. Smash that like button now to help keep this connection alive and fuel the algorithm that brings us closer together. We want to hear from you. Flood the comments section with your reactions, theories, and your own stories of light overcoming darkness. Let us keep that conversation going, and as always, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see that defeating fear is possible. Your support matters, and together, we can face whatever shadows lie ahead.